Alright, my Tabor City home here, and I figured I'd give you guys a real quick walkthrough on what we're doing with the gardens here at the house. Now, a couple things. If you keep up with the Facebook page, you'd see all these pictures on there that make it look like we have some extraordinarily beautiful, world-class garden. That's the case, I'm about to break your heart, because we're like anybody else. We have weeds, we have work to do, we have other things, but we're also a work in progress. So this garden here is actually a new project. We've been working on this one for, I don't know, about a month and a half. These are all knockout roses. There's two of the peaches, two of the pinks, two of the yellows, and two of the reds. So this is a project that we're in the middle of. I keep having to come through here, and yes, I do on occasion use weed killer. And I keep having to come through here and spray this bed. And once I get this bed completely sprayed out to where I'm pretty solid that I don't have any more of these weeds running around in here, then we'll cover it and mulch it. But that's kind of where we're at with that. We did come through and we transplanted a bunch of these little boxwoods all along. So eventually what we'd like is to have it so that this entire perimeter around this garden is actually shaped by boxwoods and then just contains the roses. So that's kind of what we're going for. You know, as I said, we got little tiny little boxwoods all through here. You know, and that's kind of what we're at here. Again, work in progress, you know, 2 months old. This is actually a rather large boxwood that we moved from another area up by the road that I was really worried that it wasn't going to take and transplant well. But it's putting on enough new growth now that I'm fairly solid that it's you know, it's going to do what it needs to do and be okay. So over here we have some Coreopsis and Dianthus, and you know, all these plants are plants that we buy that are you know, discounted at the big box stores. We got our knockout rose over here. That one actually was it's got two more over on the other side of the garden there. Those were just cuttings from these bushes over here that we rooted, and I want to say I cut about 12 of them off, and 3 of them rooted. So I put them in water, put them in the windowsill in the kitchen, and it took a couple months, month and a half maybe, but I finally got a decent root on them, and I just brought them straight out here and planted them in the ground. Once they had roots on them, I just brought them straight out here, put them in the ground, didn't mess around putting them in any pots or anything like that. Over here we have, this is a yellow daisy. We actually got 3 small plants, and by small plants I'm saying one single stem. 3 small plants of this from our neighbor, and when it came up, it was beautiful. It comes up late August, early September, lasts until, you know, pretty much the end of November. Big yellow blooms, and it just self-seeded everywhere, and I like it. I like the foliage that it has. It's a really glossy dark green, so I just leave it. Over here we actually have this is white ginger, honey ginger, is what my neighbor called it, and it's rooted itself over here. It was principally planted over on that side, and it's decided to make a visit over here. So these were 2 knockout roses that we got last year. Well, they were discounted, and you know, we brought them out here and threw them in the garden and see what they would do, and they're actually performing really, really well this year. I'm very pleased with it. Russian sage, I have it staked up because it keeps trying to flop over, but that was a discount plan as well. We love dahlias, so these, you know, all these dahlia tubers, I actually just went and purchased those. I didn't wait for them to go on discount or anything like that. Dahlias is one of those things that I will pay full price for and go ahead and you know, just invest in them because I love them so much, and I think dahlias are probably one of the prettiest flowers you can get out here. This yarrow was actually Yeah, I'm saying actually. This yarrow was a single potted yarrow that was on discount that we cut in half with a shovel, put half of it over here and half of it down the garden bed. And over here, it just loves it because it has absolutely exploded. We got euphorbia that was planted from a seed. I planted several euphorbia seeds, and that was the only one I could get to go. And trying to think of what the name of this one is. It's Autumn Joy, Sedum Autumn Joy. That was I think that was a bare root, and I've only ever gotten successfully been able to transplant a couple of things bare root. I have very, very bad luck with bare root plants, but the Sedum Autumn Joy, Gypsophilia, which is also called baby's breath, I got that, was a bare root, and was really pleased to get some decent response out of that. These were I was probably way more excited than what I should have been to see these this spring, but I have tried and put down thousands and thousands of poppy seeds to get some poppies, and I managed to get 2 of them to actually spring up this year. So silver mounding, I forget, that is a discount plant. We got these lilies here. We went ahead and paid full price for those. These were discount plants, and they're echinacea. We have some other echinacea, the purple echinacea over by the driveway. These were discount plants. Did terribly last year. If you'd have asked me to name you one plant that I was absolutely certain was going to be dead and not come back this year, I'd have told you this. And instead, it has done fantastic. These are blue seahorse holly, I believe, and I have yet to see the flowers out of those, but I'm thinking that's probably going to come next year because we're already getting on in the season. We may get a couple of flowers this year, but thinking those will come next year. The liatris is one of the things that I do quite often is I plant stuff in a bunch of different locations if I have a bunch of bulbs and just see how it reacts. Now this is a liatris. We got a single stem here, we got a couple stems here, we got a couple stems here, and that's over here at this location. Now this is a higher location, full sun all day, doesn't get a tremendous amount of water, right? So then we come over here, same number of plants. This is the same number of bulbs that we're putting in the ground, 3 of them, and look at the difference there. It's a little bit lower, it gets just a little bit more water, but it still gets full sun all day long. And this is the reaction that you get. So, but I'm going to keep the liatris here, and I like the liatris over there. That's pretty good stuff. This is called obedient plant. I've gotten some warnings from some people that it's not very obedient, to be honest with you, that it's going to try to take over the garden bed. It'll be competing with this other yellow daisy that's over here, and it's pretty well landlocked in this little area, so we'll see what it tries to do. These giant yellow flowers, and they're actually black-eyed Susans is what I purchased. That is a seed that I got from China. Now I bought a bunch of black-eyed Susan seeds and just spread them all over the place, and they came up last year, just a couple of plants. I mean, I maybe got 3 successful plants this size, and they threw seeds everywhere. So now we have tons and tons and tons of black-eyed Susans. So, and as you can see, I mean, there's still baby ones growing here. They're still seeding, and they're still coming up. So, over here, those are actually cosmos that are planted from seed, and those are coming up pretty well, so we'll see how those go. Here's some more liatris. Again, 3 plants, and that's how they reacted. Now this may look like quite a mess to you. This was completely full of coreopsis, and it was beautiful when the coreopsis was going. And I got late. I should have gotten in this garden bed earlier and planted these zinnias, because we have all these baby zinnias growing, and I've thinned them out a little bit. I got to thin some more. We got zinnias growing over there, and we got zinnias growing over here. And what I should have done was gotten in this garden bed earlier and got some zinnias planted, but I didn't. And when all this coreopsis started going to seed, I cut the seed heads off. I spread a bunch of seed in here, but then I'll show you where I took the rest of the seeds, because I got another area of the garden that I want the coreopsis to grow. So I went over there and spread a bunch of seed for them around. These, if you watch the discount flower video, these are the Veronica that got planted during that video. And if you go back and watch that video and see how horrible these Veronica and these Helenium are, you will be amazed at the response that we've gotten out of these two plants. Having bought them as discount plants in the latter part of the summer last year, put them in the ground, got them a good start, you know, and then this is the response we got this year out of it. And again, you know, our black-eyed Susans, Chinese black-eyed Susans, threw themselves all the way down here. One of the things that we kind of worked out this year that we tried to do was, you know, we had these hostas in this garden bed last year. We put the heuchera in here. You guys can go back and watch the heuchera video. Yes, I know I kept calling her heuchera. It was a joke. It was like Hercules. Never mind. Anyways, you guys can go back and watch the heuchera video. But we put the caladiums. I put the caladiums behind them in the hopes that the caladiums would grow to some, you know, height and come in and kind of peek over the top of them. Hydrangeas here. The hydrangeas are looking awesome. They're good. They're growing. It's slowly but surely, but they're growing. I imagine they would grow faster if we put them out in the sun. But we got them in a place that we like them. And you know what? If it's slow growing, that's fine. I mean, they're beautiful. They do what they're, you know, they bring joy to people as they drive by. And you know, that's the purpose for them. Let's see, this is Irish moss. And this was another one of those discount plants. And I really thought it had died. We were out here weeding the other day and saw that. This is columbine. And I bought these plants, again, discount plants. Chopped all the flower heads off of them, had them put in here in the ground. And next thing you know, bam, they grow back up and they threw out a bunch more flowers. So, this is one of the few plants that I actually paid full price for, which is a limelight hydrangea. The limelight, you know, it's doubled in size to this point. I think we've got it just in the perfect place, perfect mix of sun and shade. It gets morning sun pretty much for the first few hours of the day. Then it kind of gets this dappled shade throughout the midday, and then the afternoon it gets full shade. So, and then coming back around here, this yarrow here has been water restricted in comparison to the others. We don't have a water line that runs by it, and you'll see, you know, just how dark red the flowers on this yarrow is. So I guess if there's two sisters to those double knockout roses I showed you over there. But I guess if you want to get a really deep red yarrow, just water restricted. Again, we got some more over here. Zinnias growing. We got thin out, and then we got some more of that yellow daisy. See, these yarrow are so much more pink than the red the yarrow that was over there. Coming back around to the dahlia garden. Now, last year I did a video about a marigold, and that thing was as big as your thumb and ended up being as round as a tree, and it threw some seeds off. And we've got one growing over here, and we've got this one growing here. I'm probably going to transplant that one, but really super impressed by this plant. I love marigolds, and really happy that they're doing what they're doing. Look at that dahlia. It's just, you know, I love dahlias. I just love the look of them. But these petunias, or geraniums, excuse me, from a big box store. They were a discount plant. This is a type of marigold, but it's a perennial marigold. And you know, I've let it come up. I'm just letting it do its thing this year. I'm not deadheading it, and I'm not doing any of the other stuff. I'm just letting it do its thing this year, see what happens with it. This is actually a geranium that I've grown from seed. It's 3 separate plants down in here. Same thing with that. Grew it from seed, just letting it do its thing. Lupine, same thing. This is some more of the different dahlias that we have going on. And we came up here and planted these daylilies up front and have this like hedge going on with these mums. Maybe you can see these mums are trying. They keep trying to go into bloom. But that's a hollyhock, and it has yet to throw up a single flower shoot. And I'm leaving it there for the time being. See what happens with it. But, you know, I planted 2 or 3 different locations with bare root hollyhock and barely even saw that thing last year. Could have swore it wasn't going to come back. Not as much as the echinacea over there, but they really didn't think it was coming back, and this is what it's doing this year. So, and again, we come back over here and we got, you know, the white ginger. Mrs. Bradshaw, there were actually 6 of them in here, and 3 of them had died, but they were discount plants. And then we have some blue irises that were over there. If you watch the video about aggressively pruning holly bushes, this is the holly bush that was in front of the fireplace that we aggressively pruned. And if you stay tuned and watch the video about gardenias that's coming out in about a week or so, this is the gardenia plant. And if you go and look at that video that's going to come out and then look at this plant, you'll see that what we did, proof positive, really worked as far as that goes. Man, we're already up to a 16-minute video, 16.5-minute video. So anyways, the last thing I wanted to show you is this whole area right here is going to be a garden bed. We're making a garden bed on this side of the house. I don't know if you can see it as well through the camera, but you can see where, you know, the grass that we're growing, you know, in over in here, and I haven't sprayed any of this or anything like that, but that's kind of what we're doing over here. These are the coreopsis heads that I chopped off of those plants, and basically we bring them over here and we lay them on dirt, and then as we come through, we'll just kick them around the bed like this, and it just spread that coreopsis seed all over the bed over here. So, you know, it's a pretty interesting way to go about getting coreopsis all throughout your bed, and it works. I mean, it's effective. I've done it, and you know, this is the way that I spread some of these plums when you have tons and tons and tons of seeds, and you got stuff you can do with them. You know, just running them all over your garden bed works. Let's see. Yeah. So come over here, and we got this Acer, this red maple that we put over here. We brought over, I transplanted these 2 of those yellow fall daisies. And then, you know, what was that stuff called? Artemisia, Silver Mound Artemisia is what that stuff is. And we got that as a discount plant. And then we actually, these coreopsis came from that garden bed over there as babies. I transplanted them over here about 2 weeks ago. And we got that hydrangea there as a discount plant. And I really thought it was going to be a dead one. Did not look good at all. Put it over here. It gets, you know, so again, some morning sun, afternoon it's shaded. Had to chop off a couple good parts of the plant, but right now it's looking extraordinarily healthy. Throwing out new flowers, it's doing its deal. So I think we got a good one. I think it's gonna make, and you know, I think it'll be beautiful if it gets real big. Right here at the beginning of this corner, it'll be awesome because we're gonna plant some other flowers here in front of it. And you know, that's that. The last thing I'll show you is, you know, if you've been watching the channel for any length of time, got you in the sun, then you'll know that we had to totally scrap the lawn. And for what we had to do with the lawn, and in comparison to the way it looks right now, this is a month. Let's see, what's today? Yeah, so this is a month and 8 days. Is the kind of grass growth that we've gotten out of this yard. So, you know, I'm fairly happy with it. I take a lot of pride in my yard and my lawn, and I'm not happy with it. If you ask me, I would tell you it's like a hay field. It drives me nuts. I got bare spots, but for where we've come in a month, can't argue with that. That's results. So, anyways, that's kind of where we're at. Again, this garden is 1 year old. We started turning over soil in this garden bed over here 1 year ago, and and that was 1 year ago last May. So it's a year and maybe coming up on a month old. And we just, our neighbor gave us this, our neighbor gave us this yellow daisies. Some of this stuff came from seed. Some of it, the dahlias, of course, like I said, we bought. But some of this stuff is just, a large majority of what we've done in this garden in 1 year is discount plants. So, take a shot on them. They're well worth it. I've had a pretty fair success out of them. And that's what you can do with a garden in 1 year. And realistically, my wife was telling me the other day, she constantly gets people when we go to church or we at work or whatever, who look at the pictures that we post online of the flowers here at the house, and they say, "Oh, you have such a beautiful garden." And again, it certainly, when you can capture that moment in time when something's perfectly in bloom and do some of the things with it, it looks awesome. And people would say, "Oh man, I bet you spend $100 a week, weeding." And I just took it to the garden. There's weeds in there. There's spots in there that need to be worked on. There's plants in there that are out of control. But I appreciate it for what it is, and it's a 1-year-old garden. We're still working on that, and there's still stuff in there we'll probably move around and adjust and do things with. But hey, you know what? That's part of the fun of gardening, is getting in there with your hands, getting dirty, learning what the plant's like. Look at the difference in that liatris. You can tell where that stuff wants to be. So, that is the beauty of gardening. It's a learning process. We've got 1 year under our belt, and that's what we're looking at. So, go out there and get you a garden. It doesn't matter if you're doing a container garden on your porch. Get your garden. Anyways, my Tabor City home to you. That's our 1 year update on that garden. And an update on a lot of other plants that we've featured here on the channel. So, let's get outside. Let's do some digging. Let's get our hands dirty. Let's go fix something, build something. All right? America's not a disposable nation. God bless.